Simran Kaur, a junior coordinator of Atithya, the Tourism and Hospitality Club of Ansarmore. And on the behalf of Atithya, I bid a very warm welcome to everyone who took out their valuable time and joined us today to be a part of Paryatan, the annual Tourism and Hospitality Conclave of Ansarmore, which is organized on the occasion of National Tourism Day. So before we get started, I would actually like to express my sincere appreciation to the guest speakers, Ms. Hashmina, Mr. Om Vikram Thapa, and Ms. Gitika Singla for accepting our invitation for the panel discussion. It's an honorable moment for all of us to have your prestigious presence in today's event. So before moving on, I would like to make our guests familiar with the whole concept of our event, our conclave Paryatan. So the club is actually very proud to organize their flagship event, Paryatan, our annual tourism, our annual conclave, completely dedicated to the realm of tourism and hospitality, where we have various national scale competitions and interconnections with industry stalwarts to give students an opportunity to understand multiple years of industry experience and an opportunity to get first-hand knowledge and experience and build really meaningful connections. So this event is another feather in the cap of Ansarmore, which is the first IIM to offer an MBA in tourism and hospitality. And it's an honor for Aditya to organize such an exciting event in their first year of operation itself. So talking about the theme of the event, which is the Chameleon Era, the need of a more agile industry, it directly refers to the post-pandemic era, which currently requires substantial adaptability and agility, especially in the case of tourism and hospitality, which is one of the most dynamic industries uh, right now. So this event would primarily focus on highlighting the topics that are imperative to cope with the industry's changing requirements. And the interactions between the students and the industry experts are actually intended to promote innovation, skill development, and training students to fit into the workforce in future. So now I would like to invite Sri Krishna to introduce our guest speakers to the students. Okay, I guess Sri Krishna is not here yet. Neil or Tarun, could you please
Yes.
take over?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mansimran. Well, good evening, respected faculty, speakers, and my fellow batchmates. Today, we have an amazing panel of speakers from the tourism and hospitality industry. The first speaker that we have is Miss Gitika Singla. She's a graduate from Calcutta University and MBA from IITM in Tourism and Hospitality Services Management. She has experience from Travel Site and Incredible India, and currently she is functioning as the supply manager in Zostel. The next speaker we have is Mr. Om Vikram Thapa. He's a computer science engineer and has worked in established organizations such as Redbus, Amazon, and right now he's functioning as the associate director for Go Ibibo from more than 3.5 years. The last speaker we have is Ms. Hashmina Haq. She's a computer science engineer from BIT Mishra, and she has done MBA from MBI Gurgaon in marketing and finance. She has experience from companies such as Novartis, Nestle, Sapient, and currently she is functioning as the senior product manager at OYO. Well, thank you so much, all the speakers, for coming here and making this, making your time for this panel discussion. So let's move forward and let's start this discussion. So I would like to elaborate on the topic of this panel discussion. The topic for today is reinventing tourism with adaptability in the new normal. Through this topic, we are intending to base the discussion primarily on the post-COVID era, which highly requires agility and adaptability for the businesses to succeed. In this panel discussion, we will be following a sequence, and that would be first, Ms. Gitika Singla can take the question, and up next would be Mr. Om Vikram Thapa, and lastly, the Ms. Hashmina can answer the question. I would like to invite Vinil for the attendance.
Thank you, Tarun. All the attendees are requested to please put your name and roll number in the chat box in the next 1 or 2 minutes. And Tarun, you can move on. Thank you.
Tarun, you can continue.
Okay. So to begin with, it has become evident that most of the customers nowadays are very concerned about their safety while traveling. Moreover, the COVID-19 infection keeps mutating and it keeps coming back in different waves. So the businesses in the tourism industry has to be very, very cautious with their services and to survive in this new normal. All in all, weighing the need to revive tourism with the desire to combat the spread of COVID-19, it is a matter of risk versus reward for all the stakeholders. So the question here is how to strive for the balance in the two, that is risk and reward, to bring out the most optimal situation for this industry in this current times. So if everybody got the question, we can start the discussion. Miss Gitika, the stage is all yours.
All right, well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to share this stage with industry experts. My sincere thanks goes to Ian Seymour and especially the Atithya team to invite me to share my thoughts on today's topic. So, as you were mentioning, like tourism industry is the most agile industry and requires most adaptability. So, rebuilding tourism is a priority, but the sector has to become more adaptable and ready to adapt changes. The answer to this question probably can be responsible tourism or sustainable tourism. So when we talk about this concept, it involves protecting the interest of tourism as a whole. It also includes all the environmental issues, including and emphasize improving tourist experience without neglecting the host demand and safety. So if we want a silver line between the like importance of the host and the stakeholders, like all the tourists and everything. So, like improving and with all the protocols we have, all the SOPs, if we follow all these things, I think this is the silver line where we can go ahead with the new normal. So in the like in the current scenario, if we go ahead with this thing, probably we can definitely succeed in this industry. And I hope like and I see most of the tourism industry stakeholders are already improving this thing in their daily normal life. So with these things, I believe we can definitely get out of this thing and adapt ourselves in the new normal.
Yeah, thank you, Gitika. I think I also agree with that. First of all, thank you to Atithya team, and I am Shirmore for inviting all three of us from the different, same industry, different panels. But I'm really honored to share the stage with Gitika and Hashmina here. Okay, so the question is really interesting, guys, and I'll tell you. Is the hospitality industry adopting? Yes, of course. Why not? If you look into this current scenario in the pandemic, a lot of people have moved from hotels to homestay properties, right? People are actually staying in a villa, bungalow. They want to travel safe by hiring a private car or Zoom car in per se, right? So the behavior of the customers are already changing. Okay, and the way the hospitality has been done before has also changed. Earlier, hotels and restaurants were taking care of the customers in a different way, but now they are more conscious about the safety of the customers, as well as they are also taking proactive actions to self audit themselves, claiming that they are contactless check-in, they are sanitized, and there has been changes in the amenities and the house rule policy which they actually show right now. Right, and on the other hand, right now, if you look into it, hosts who actually welcome the customers to their property, they earlier they used to ask only about the Aadhaar card, right? But now they have adopted to ask for the vaccination report also, up hand, right? So all these things coming together, we, of course, if we balance both the things, if you look into this side, right, can this particular situation arise a new era or new sector for the hotels or homestay to evolve? Yes, of course. Do we need to make changes to adjust to the customer needs? Yes, of course. If you make a balance between the requirement and the supply, then of course we can actually evolve in the upcoming era also. And I promise you, this will go up and up after the vaccination and booster will start working, and if you don't see much more mutants coming into the future. And it's already showing some green numbers. Actually, if you ask Geetika and Hashmina also, we can see the good numbers spiking up from the travelers across the world, even in India as well as in outside.
Thank you guys for having me here and sharing stage with Om and Gatika. It's truly an honor to be back in an MBA campus again, and I can see the culture is still the same with everybody suited up even on weekend. So I can truly relate to that, and I can see attendance being taken. All of that brings back a lot of memories because it was the same in our college as well. So yeah, that's the MBA culture. But coming to the point, I think I totally agree with Om and Gitika. See, when you talk about risk and rewards, obviously they're the two sides, right? So with COVID, keeping, rising and different waves coming up with different mutations coming up, it has now become like an integral part of our lives, right? So we can't do away with it because we don't know when and if there'll ever be a post-pandemic era per se. So we have to basically adapt that into our lifestyle, and hence if we consider that perspective, we can see how customer demands are changing, right? How customer psyche and customer preferences are changing. So earlier people maybe were just looking for lesser prices or something like that. Maybe they just wanted a particular sort of amenities. Maybe they wanted a pool, or maybe they, I don't know, wanted a particular view, right? But now the first thing which they look is whether is it safe, whether you have a flexible cancellation policy, right? How easy is it to modify the stay dates, right? So all of these changes, if you see the products which you are bringing, right? The sanitize before your eyes. If you see OYO app, you can see the different filters which have come out, like sanitize before your eyes, vaccinate, which actually tells you that the people who are going to attend you at the different, at the hotels are actually vaccinated. So, you can still be comfortable. So you want to make them feel safe and secure at the same time, and give them the flexibility to choose from various options. So with all of these changing, you basically need to accustom to the changing trends. For example, if you see, I don't know, maybe the people now have started booking, the booking window has shortened, right? So you want to book dates which are closer to your check-in date. The check-in date is closer to the booking date. It's not far into the future, because you can't even plan that much, right? Because you don't know how travel restrictions may change, new COVID variant comes up. So all of that needs to be put in place. And it's not just about the travel. I think with all the being locked up for so long in homes, there's a lot of revenge travel which is going to happen. So people actually want to get out. But to get out, they also need to feel safe. So as you can see, domestic tourism taking place, people traveling via roads, all of that is coming up. And hence your product, your app, or whatever platform you provide needs to give that opportunity to the customers, right? You need to tell them, okay, these are the new guidelines which have come up. Okay, this is, as Om mentioned, that vaccination certificate has become important, especially if you see the flights and everything. You need to provide that certificate. So maybe you can accommodate something like that, which Make My Trip is already done. You can download your vaccination certificate from their app itself. So all of these changes are actually something your product should give to the customer, so that it becomes very easy for them to do the booking process, and don't waste a lot of time in planning and all of that, and they can just enjoy the experience. You give them the package, they enjoy the experience, and they become your repeat customer. That's what you want at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, very well said, Ashwina.
Thanks.
I think you covered most of the things from all the three partners here.
Yeah.
Well, if so, we can move ahead to the next question then. So nowadays we see that robots are used in hotels. A lot of automation are being done. People are using a lot of electricity, and there is new technologies that are coming in the industry and outside the industry. And since hospitality is such a human-centric industry where human touch and the feel is more important, the experience is more important, how will automation bring up a change in hospitality since it is a more human centric industry? How would we go about that? Like, what can be the future of hospitality industry be with all this extensive automation?
All right, Tarun. So you have mentioned that the tourism industry is a more like a human-centric industry. But I would also like to add like automation in any industry, if you look at like automation is the key to success and like a key to customer experience, satisfaction of customer experience. So it is the most vital thing we can play in nowadays because if we go with a proper automation, it should be very clear and like understandable to the customer and the consumers. So for say, let's take an example. If we all want to book a flight from destination A to destination B, probably like what will you do? You will go to a search engine or like some make my trip go id go, these type of websites which already have your pre-filled data because of your past bookings. Well, obviously you have allowed them to do so, so they have your autofill data. So you just have to put the destinations, you just have to put the destinations like Mumbai to Delhi or something like that. They will show you cheapest flights, cheapest price, and you have to go for the payment, hassle-free payment option. That's it, booking is done. So same can also, this was the the pre-pandemic thing. Now, if we see in the hospitality industry, in the post-COVID era, the same thing has been applied in the hospitality industry as well. Whenever, like nowadays, the hotel chains like Marriott, Taj, every like big hotel chain have their own apps. So whenever you go there, you just need to select your dates. They will tell the destinations as well where you can go and have some like extended time over there. And yeah, and they will also give you free and self check-in and check-out. That is what we want, right, as a customer, because we don't want to sit in the common lobby area which is used by everyone and like stand in the queues for someone waiting for someone to come and attend us. Hello sir, this is your room and this is your key, which everyone, it's a common thing. So irrespective of that, like if mobile phone and apps can be used as a self check-in and check out things, so that's awesome. This is a place where automation and artificial intelligence comes into the place, which is actually solving the problem of contact. This is making check-in and check-out contactless. So, like you can also take an example. Suppose if you are going with the second booking, a message may pop up like, "Hey XYZ, hope you are doing well. Welcome back. Do you want to order the same brownie that made you heart the next on your previous booking?" So that's how automation works, and it's the splendid thing and the most important thing nowadays. I think can work to revive and reinvent tourism in the hospitality and tourism industry. So I think like Om can add to this, considering he's from that background itself.
Yeah,
So,
I think this is one of my favorite topic, and Geetika has touched a very very beautiful part of it. That is the personalization of the customer choice. I will actually start with the definition of automation, right? So when we say automation, it means any repetitive task which you have been doing manually and can be actually automated by means of anything which can be productive for everybody, right? To save the time, basically, right? That is automation. If you are using a washing machine, it's an automation basically. If it is if you are you might have seen some of the ads in Japan, right, where after the meeting room, as soon as you clap, the chairs will automatically go to their table and it will adjust itself, right? These are small part of the automation. Now when we come directly or narrow it down to the hospitality industry, we have been using automation from the beginning, right? We have been resolving the customer services or customer dissatisfaction queries by automation, by means of automation. It can be voice recording, it can be creating the ticket of their issues through Freshdesk or through My Desk and resolving it, right? Or maybe some of the automated predefined answers which you get in the chatbots, right? Make My Trip and GoIbo has Gia and Myra. We call it Make My Trip, real-time assistant. So basically, whenever you have a query, we already have some of the templates defined, or with the help of the AI, we understand what are you asking about, right? So take an example. If you are booking, you have booked a hotel for tomorrow and you are traveling from Bangalore to Delhi. We already know that you are traveling from somewhere else. That means you already need a vehicle to transport to the hotel, right? So we can suggest automated, we can suggest that thing can be done through either by call or, or by any other means, by SMS promotional or something, but we can actually suggest this customer. So these are some of the automation on the OTA platforms, which is I'm talking about right now, online travel agents. But if you look into the hotels or homestay property itself, the automation has started. I'll tell you, I think Oyo has started one of the very good initiative where homestay property has the lock system, which will have a unique OTP password only sent by the SMS to the customer, and they will be able to open the lock by themselves. It's a very good initiative, and it works in the homestay property because the customer directly opens the lock there, right? This is the automation. I remember in the pandemic situation, we looked into the flight system and we thought, okay, every flight like a Jet Airways, everybody has a queue, express line where people can directly submit their boarding information and they can get a boarding pass, e-boarding pass, right? So we started with something called contactless check-in, or you can call it express check-in, where after the booking of the Go I Want Make My Trip funnel, the customer will get a notification that please submit your document before you even check into the hotel, right? We are automating that process where you can actually submit your Aadhaar card, ID card, proof, or passport, etc., or other customers' information online itself. And when you reach to the hotel, I already have everything about you. And then we just cross verify it and we give you the key, right? So we make it contactless. The same thing applies for when you are inside the hotel room. The customers right now, they don't want to touch a lot of things. So now if you would have stayed in a hotel, I recently went last month itself, I saw there are QR code placed everywhere, right? And right now, most of the hotels are also coming up with their own personal chatbots where you can actually ask for the food menu, you can actually make the payment online, and as well as you can actually ask for any other information, like my TV is not working. You can raise the complaint within the premises without even touching the phone, without even touching the room's phone. You can take out your mobile phone and then just quote it, right? So the automation in different parts, whether it is a software or a hardware, has been actually adhered to the hospitality industry, and we are adopting to various way, by means of chatbot, by means of WhatsApp messages, or maybe beacon. If you would have heard of beacon, we are actually exploring that. I will just throw some light out here, right? When you are in a hotel premises, at that time what happens is you are traveling, let's say inside the premises, right, nearby the swimming pool, and if there is a spa nearby, the spa can beacon or send a SMS to your number saying that hey, there is a 10% off in the spa, come visit us, right? So these kind of beacon messages are actually also automating the process. So there are a lot of innovation going out, guys. You should read about it, and those tech guys who are actually your friends or family members, please refer them to Go I Want Make My Trip.
Nice promotion, Om. Trying to get all the good talent, Anna.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I think pretty much most of the points Om has already covered it since he's a tech guy. So I don't know how much I can add to it. But see, I can see whatever he put together the definition of automation very aptly. That any manual task, any repetitive task which can be automated is automation, right? So it can be very small tasks, right? Say for example, if I take the example of hotel onboarding, right? So even in OYO, we earlier had field representatives to go to different hotel partners, convince them to get them onboarded, collect all the details, feed in a particular app, which is not that user friendly to be used by them. So we had an internal app where you used to fill the details, and all of that gets into our internal system, right? So what we did was, why do we even need the field representatives, right? This is we can automate this stuff, right? So what we do, we create an app or we create a platform where the hotel partners can themselves onboard their own details, easy for them, make it very easy. So whenever you try and do an automation, you have to make it so easy that it becomes easier for the customer to use. If they have to spend a lot of time in getting to understand the product, nobody's going to use it, right? So you have to make it very simple, very intuitive, very easy for them to understand, and it should solve their pain points, right? So for hotels, getting the right details, onboarding, all of that is a pain point, right? If they have to fill in each and every detail by themselves, that is a pain point. So what you do, you pre-fill half of the information. Maybe, you if they're already listed, say on a Make My Trip, right, and they want to now be a part of OYO, what you do, you fetch the details from Make My Trip, pre-fill in most of the details, right, so that they have to fill lesser and lesser details. So that improves conversion and that reduces the number of dropouts which happens, right, in your app. Similarly, like the personalization and the recommendations, everybody's familiar, right? Whenever you have, say, last time you visited Jaipur and you visited a particular place, or maybe last time you visited a particular restaurant, so Zomato knows that these are the kind of cuisines you prefer. So the next time whenever you order, they'll obviously show you the last order, right? Maybe you want to repeat that order, or maybe you want to order something similar, something of the similar nature, right? So all of these are automations. Again, if you come to the hospitality industry, like the OTA platforms, so see, there are many OTA platforms which are available, hundreds of OTA platforms, right? And for a small hotel owner to manage manually each of these OTA platforms is very difficult, right? Now, what do? This is a pain point for them. So you need to automate that. You need to make it easier for them. So maybe you create a channel manager like a RateGain, right, where they connect themselves to different OTA platforms, and the hotel manager just needs to, put in the details at one platform and gets automatically synced to all of the other platforms. So they don't need to manage on different platforms. So it removes their manual work, gives them more time to think about things. They can, be more productive, think, how is their customer delight happening, how are their competitors performing, is their pricing competitive enough to what is available in the market, so they can think about all of these things. So it'll only be possible when you remove their manual task and they get more time to think about over the business decisions, right? And if we consider the hardware side of it, like the automations, as Om rightly mentioned, we have that lock system available. You can have a QR system, right? Wherever you want to have a contactless check-in, right? So you just scan the QR code, you get a OTP on your phone to log in. If you maybe just, like he said, you can submit the documents earlier itself, so you don't have to hand it out to somebody there. Nobody even needs to be present on a particular hotel. Maybe it's you make the online payment so easy that nobody needs to collect at hotel, right? And maybe you also give that initiative and impetus, maybe you can give a certain amount of discount so that people get actually tempted to pay online, okay, so that you don't have to actually put a personnel in the hotel to take care of them. So all of these are automations which slowly are trying to disrupt the hospitality industry, which was earlier a very human centric. But with all of these automations in place, wherever you can remove the manual task and don't hamper the experience at the same time, is something which we should look forward to.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So we know some key takeaways that I would like to say is Ms. Gitika talked about the personalization of customers' choice, and Mr. Om talked about the importance of automation, where he spoke extensively about AI, e-onboarding, contactless checking, e-security, and chatbots, and etc. And Miss Hashmina, she talked about that the automation process should be simple and should help the customer experience and not complicated. It should be very simple and very easy. So let's move ahead to the next question. So the next question is change. It cannot be done easily in a business that has been established for a long time compared to the new startups that we get. So how can those organizations who have been in the market for a while to bring change in their models? And if so, what can they use? What new can they use in their models, or any points that they have to focus on while creating their new models, so that they can rebrand themselves or survive in this new market that the tourism industry has become right now?
Okay, Karan. So, as far as I can understand with this question, this is about this can be divided into two parts. That is, first is the like working culture of startup and the working culture of well-established company. So, like when we talk about a startup, it gives you a freedom to work like at like it doesn't have a stipulated time. It doesn't have a very stipulated way of working or something like that. So what we can do, like if it's an established business and adaptability and change is the need of hour. So the more established company have to, if they want to improve themselves and adapt to new changes, what they can do, they can work on the artificial intelligence, they can automate their process, and they can look where they are lacking behind. So this is the thing, and they can also support their employees to be very for the flexible time so that they can adapt more into this scenario. So these are my views to this question. Like as far as for the more established company, I would say the representative from Make My Trip, like Mr. Om can be more specific person to talk about all these things.
Yeah. I think the one of the benefit, Geetika, you get is being on the supply side. You actually interact with a lot of BDs, BDMs, and ZM and RMs who are actually on the ground, and they get actually a lot of opinion from the hotel, right? Direct
Right.
feedback from the hotel. So this question I will take in a different way. See, there are startup culture, and India has been known for it. That's where reverse brain drain has started, right? A lot of people, and you must be watching that Shark Tank India also, right? So
Yeah.
you can see the notion has evolved so much that Prime Minister has announced about the startup day itself in January, right? So this
Yeah.
year onwards there will be a startup day. So now startups are increasing, and they are getting motivation from all the sectors and from the financial point of view also, because there are a lot of small and big investors out there. Okay, there is no dearth of investor right now. If you have a solid idea, it can go ahead. But now let's look into the particular problem statement which we are focusing here: change, right? The situation has changed, right? And the customer base has also changed. See, the people who were there in 90s were very stable, and they used to work on, okay, I will take only one job, work till my 60s and retire, and then go ahead easily, right? That was the comfortable zone. They never used to take risk. There were very few people who took risk at that time, and they actually established something like Tata or Birla, right? Now in the 20s, people, the generation which we were born of, right, have got some freedom. We can choose our own occupation, or our own own occupation, own freedom, that I can travel. I have my money, I can actually buy something. Okay, the customer base is changing. This is what I'm focusing on right now. And now in millennials, right now millennials don't worry about it. They said, okay, let's take a backpack and let's go for a Goa trip, or go for a Ladakh trip. So they don't, they are very much free. So first thing, let's understand our customer base, how their behavior and their expansion, or you can say expenditure, has actually changed, right? Earlier when people were planning for a trip, they used to trip for, okay, I have to plan full, how to go, where to stay and everything. Like a 3 days quota will be 20-25,000 rupees, something like that. In early 90 late 90s and early 20s, there will be, okay, we will go, we will plan for it, we are young, we can actually afford to do that. Now they don't even care, right? It's not a FOMO anymore, that if I don't go there, it I will lose something. Even if I have 5,000 rupees, I can actually take a budgeted hotel, or a hostel bed, or a backpackers place to stay, and then we'll actually visit that place. So the behavior is changed first. Second thing is, if you look into it, the system has also changed, right? Now we don't worry about that the business is big or small. There is always an equal platform for everybody. So tomorrow a second Airbnb in India can evolve, and nobody can deny that fact, right? Make My Trip and GoIvo has been there in the business from last 20 years. But we have launched Airbnb competitor site, where somebody can become a host. We are 20 years old. Big Mammoth is also adjusting to the fact that there can be an Indian Airbnb. Why not we create our own? So we have just launched our become a host platform, where people like you and me, take an example, if Gitika has one of the homestay property in Kurg, she can actually launch it there, right? And we are adapting to the change because we know our customer base has changed. Our customer base has changed. In the recent past promotions of Oyo, if you see, they have been promoting on day use properties, right? For 3-4 hours you can stay, for 3-4 hours, because the customer base has changed, right? Now people would like to actually not like to book 24 hours room, but they are saying I'm compatible with 6 hours room itself, where I will just within the transit I can go from one place to another. The another one example you can take, like if in Tirupati or in Vaishno Devi, the customer base has changed because they do just want to go there, take a fresh wash and then go for the darshana. They don't have to stay whole night there because they know they will be walking, right? So the demand changed, the customer base changed, and according to that, the big organizations are also adopting to the changes because it is the necessity. It is the necessity of the hour. Otherwise, I will lose that customer segment. I will lose the day use customers. I will lose the group booking segments. I will lose the people who are actually new to the system, who are fresh millennial, and they believe in certain different kind of they belong to different kind of genre than ours. Earlier we used to do the TV advertisement, or you can say the newspaper ads, but right now I remember just after the pandemic we have started hiring the social media influencers to promote Go Ever Make My Trip. If you look into our Instagram platform, we have actually paid, or we have hired their services, those influencers who travels to a lot of locations and then actually talk about that place. This is a totally different different strategy of promotion also. So I'm saying the change is not only on the system level. Technically there has been a lot of changes has gone. Actually we have moved to the service oriented architecture, etc., right? We are actually looking into the Bitcoin payment system now after the new budget. If it is actually partially accepted, can be used as a payment gateway for people to actually make a booking for the hotels or flights. So you can see technically it has changed. New startups are evolving, customer base has changed, customer requirement has changed. Though, so the platform like Oyo, Joster, or Go Ever Make My Trip also has to adapt to the new era. Otherwise, will not survive. We have to adapt to the changes. Thank you.
Okay. Continuing from Om's point, see, change is it's inevitable, right? It's something which is constant, if you can say so. And somebody who does not adapt to the changes going around is bound to fail at some point of time, right? And as with the tourism industry specifically changing because of the COVID era, the customer preferences have also changed, as Om pointed, wherein they want, maybe they want, like, especially with international travel still not considered safe, right? Domestic tourism has started gaining momentum, right? And as and when domestic tourism gains momentum, people have already explored the commercial places like Jaipur and maybe other places like Udaipur, I don't know, some particular hill stations like Manali and everything. So these are already explored. So they then want to explore other places which are in the nooks and corners of of India, right, where people have not gone. So obviously to do that, you need the infrastructure to be there, you need hotels to be actually present there, you need the roadways so that they get connected. So all of that needs to be put in place, and you see even the government bringing the infrastructure, is spending a lot of money over there to connect us via roadways, railways, different modes of transportation being available. They also understand that you need, the need of the hour is to promote domestic tourism per se, and also to create all of these places as not just tourist places but also experiences, right? Because I think people nowadays are not just, they don't want to go to places and just experience these are the famous things of that particular place and that's it. They want to experience the local cuisines, they want to understand, maybe they want to go to a particular vineyard and taste a particular wine, I don't know, maybe they want to go to a particular village and see how farming is done. So there are different experiences which people nowadays enjoy, and I think that is mostly prevalent for the millennials and the Gen Zs. I think their way of traveling is much different than people used to travel earlier. with the families and everything pre-planned, and you need a particular kind of hotel. You're on a 3-star hotel, you want it to be closer to maybe the market, or you want all of that. This is not something which people nowadays want. They want a view, maybe like the mountain view or the golf view. As you can see the recent Oyo ad, you want a particular golf view, you want to enjoy that perspective. So all of these changes, and these changes can only come once you allow yourself to experiment with the ideas, right? So I think the main thing what startup culture offers you is the will to innovate and experiment. So you have like hundreds of ideas, right? So you cut down to maybe like 2 or 3, but now you're not sure which one to actually implement. So maybe you pick one, you do an experiment, you do an A/B experiment, or you do customer surveys, you take feedbacks. You can come up with various ways of identifying, and then once and you can fail, right? And it's something anybody and everybody, it can happen to anyone, right? An idea can definitely fail, and the company should be acceptable of it, as long as people are acceptable that some ideas are bound to fail and some are actually bound to succeed. So, and that's how I think businesses actually succeed in the end, right? Unless and until you are ready to take the risk side of it, you cannot reap the reward. So you have to have that perspective in mind, and as long as the businesses have it, I think the startup culture per se, if they can bring into the organization, I think it becomes easier and to become more agile, and they can adapt to the changing environment. And say, for example, if you take maybe like a luxury segment, right? See, with all the people staying in home, you have a lot of savings now, so there's not much there. So, but maybe even the youngsters at times want to enjoy a more luxury resort, or they want to stay at a luxurious place, but the luxury segment hotels like the Armani or something, they don't want to dilute the brand as well, right? Because that is something which is very core to the offering. So maybe they can, what they can do, they can bring up another version of it, maybe a light version of it, bring down the segment a little so that it becomes accessible to more people. So the core offering which you have, like Oyo, is mainly into budgeted segment, right? So if you suddenly see Oyo selling, luxury resorts, it's something which will hit you, right? So you'll have to change your communication as well to the customers in that way. If you're bringing something new, then your communication needs to change, right? If you if you see earlier, Oyo used to be more couple friendly, and we used to focus on that aspect of it, but now we are moving towards more family oriented. We are showing how families, making it safe for the children to be there, making it safe for the families. So the communication also changes along with the product offerings and along with the customer preferences. So all of this, if you put into place, I think the business and your your revenue and your profit is going to go up and up from there.
Yeah, I remember that. Actually, I just remember 2 more points there I want to add there. If companies like us, right, who are there in the system in domestic market, if we don't adapt to the change, you might end up like Cox and Kings, right? It's one of the biggest story or lesson for all the people who are reading or learning travel and hospitality. And the second one, if you look into it, while I was in Red Bus, actually, I'm talking about 2012 or 2013, right? We started thinking about the safety of the people. How can we actually look one step ahead and make the changes in our system? So at that time, there was a startup called Your Bus. Actually, Your Bus used to do the GPS tracking of the buses, and we acquired them just for the sake because their solution was really, really good. And then we acquired them, and we use that feature as a safety feature for all the bus travelers, that you can actually send an SMS to your family members with the URL that where is your son or daughter is traveling, right? These are some of the small examples which shows that if you don't take you don't take it very seriously, these small steps very seriously for the future coming aspect of the features, you might lag behind. During the pandemic, we found out that people are not able to go to the places, but they would actually like to dream about it, right? They would like to plan for it. So why not actually look into the virtual reality, or you can say a like artificial view of the hotel premises or the beach and all those things. So we actually invested on one of the companies there also and looked into that direction. Can we, other than the multimedia like photos, videos, can we look into the 360-degree view of that particular property? It's an experience which actually Hashmina talked about, right? One is the experience where you go and experience or feel it. The another one is the experience where you can actually dream about it, because once you dream about it, then you can make the customers go for it, right? Because as everybody know, we have savings now. People want to go for the revenge travel, and people would not actually compromise on the price of it just for that particular experience. So let's gear up. I think the ride has just started. I think 2022 should bring out that particular you can say the rail ride for all the people who are invested in travel industry.
I really hope that happens, sir, because it's been a long time. This industry has been struggling, and it's high time that this industry gets back on its feet. So to summarize what you guys have said, that all the long-term or the old businesses should focus on rebranding themselves. They have to look for the new trends that were in the market. They have to see what better they can give from their competitors, so the new competitors or the new startup. They can also focus on the new technologies that are there in the market, so that they can at least not provide something better, but to be at par with their competitors, so that at least they survive in the new market. So they have to be able to, basically they have to be able to change. They have to be able to they have to take the risks. And I think that's pretty much that what the essence of the question was. So up next, what the next question that I want to ask is about us as managers, as the new budding managers. How should we, as budding managers, prepare ourselves to be able to make an impact and contribution to this industry in the post-pandemic situations? Like, what can we do differently than the managers before us, or that you guys have faced during COVID, or you think could help benefit us or the organization in the future?
All right, Arun. So I think this is the most interesting question of all the questions we have discussed, because this is the most relevant question with me and all the all the your class and everything. So what I think, adaptability and flexibility, these are the two terms I have seen we can adopt as and you guys can adopt as the budding tourism professionals. You guys can adopt this, and definitely you will shine out of it in this changing scenario. What I have seen in a year or two, we have shifted our offline classes from online classes. Like, can you imagine in tourism industry, you are sitting in your laptop and getting the knowledge? Like, is it possible? But we have done it, so. And you guys have enrolled in tourism industry at that time when nobody was like very much faithful about this industry. But your passion and everything brought all of you to here. So I think have faith in you, like have faith in your industry, and if you are ready to adapt the changes, definitely you can like boost up in this industry. And if and I also want to add a thing, like if always try to develop a thing of entrepreneurship in your mind. If you have an idea, if you have that skill, definitely you can go ahead. Talk about like offbeat destinations of India. Talk about new ideas. Like if you open a place, a thing, and develop a tourism of an offbeat destination, so you can develop that place as a whole. You are not just making money for yourself. You are making money for the all the villagers, for all the stakeholders over there. So try to bring that change, and definitely, if you are bringing change in a very good way, so that's the only thing where you will succeed in your life. So yeah, that's it from my side. Tarun can take. Sorry.
Thank you, Geetika. Uh, I think since these guys are doing MBA, so this question will be really related to Hashmina, of course. But from the technology point of view, we always have a counterpart who is a product manager, okay? And I have seen, and I have been fortunate enough to work with in this industry with a lot of product managers since last 15 years, okay? So I have been dealing with them, and they are my counterparts, and I understand how they work and how and I know what all suggestions can we give. So this will be a different perspective from where I will give the suggestion to you guys. Apart from what Hashmina will say, because she can actually look into from the product management side, right? So here we go. So I believe in some of the core values of our organization, and I would like to answer that in those core values, right? So the curiosity, creativity, these are CCC, we call it: curiosity, creativity, and caring. So we have 6 C's, but I would like to focus on these 3 first for all of you. Okay, and how can we go through it? Curiosity: know about the domain. And how will you know about the domain? Only when you speak to the real people behind the scene. So in product management also, in the first, whenever they join Goibo Make My Trip, we actually send them for the field trip to go to the nearby hoteliers in your place, in your area, to find out and understand what is the PMS they are using, what is the property management system they use, what is the channel manager they have been using, what all are the challenges they use to use the extranet which we have provided. Why don't they use our app on a day-to-day basis to manage their property? So the curiosity should be there to know the domain as well as tech knowledge, basically. For us, it is both product and technology. We have to know from both the sides. So the curiosity should be there in each one of you, all of you who are there. That should be there, because that should be the kida which will take you, upper in the heights. Actually, curiosity. That is the first thing. You remember, right? In the pandemic situation, almost like you can say almost around 60,000 hotels and 5 lakh restaurant has been closed. What idea or what curious idea you can bring up to the stage which can actually make the difference in between at least 1% of these people? That is what you need to think about. If you can run that show, it can work for anybody, right? So you need to start with that thought process. That is the first one, curiosity. Creativity comes up not only on the bigger ideas. I will not say that whenever you come up with a great idea or great PRD or product features, then only it's successful. No, I think creativity can be done in a small things also. It can be a small process. It can be a simple image icon, or can be a simple image icon of the amenity, or it can be a simple way of collecting the feedback from the hotelier, which can be creativity. It doesn't have to be a bigger idea in my thought, because when I look into the features, right, we try to create it very complicated. And when you compare with the other product in the industry, booking.com, Google Hotels, Amazon is now integrating with Make My Trip, and I'm pretty sure they will actually come up with a very nice UI, better than us. I'm pretty sure, because they have the way of making it simple to the user, right? How can we propose it? I back that idea which Hashmina told, that we don't have to complicate the things. Think about the simplicity, but what is the exact problem it is solving? That is the creativity you have to bring. All the students out there who is listening to this, right, just keep that in mind, that not every idea has to be great or bigger in chunk where I can make the impact. It can be a small step but leading towards the bigger one. Okay. And the third one is the caring. See, this industry, we asked about several questions about the automation and other thing, right? This industry will run only because of the human who are there interacting with each other. Okay, trust me, whatever automation, whatever AI you bring into whatever machine learning you bring into the system, but the human touch will never go. The call between the BD and the hotel creates that much of trust which you cannot bring into 1,000 ways of automating it. The human touch, human personalization will always be there. That's why today in this particular scenario also agents works. Why travel agents have so many booths in India? Because they know who is Geetika, what she likes, what kind of food she wants nearby the restaurant, where she would like to go, whether it is a hill area or beach area, what kind of shopping she does. All those things, that personalization is there. So that's what I'm saying. The caring attitude should be there towards our exactly the hotel partners or the hotel chain partners who are at the supply side, and to the customer B2C side, that is the real customers who are actually purchasing from it, right? Like OYO and we are sitting in the middle, where we are actually working as an online travel agent. But the caring nature towards the customer on either side, B2C customers or B2B customers, stakeholders, should be there. So these 3 points are actually very important for all the freshers or all the managers who are coming into the future and then working on this particular industry. That's the take from my side, from the you can say a technology person who will be giving a product GAN to all the product managers, upcoming product managers. But all the best from my side.
Okay, so last but not the least, I will tell you pointers from my experience. Okay, so for starters, the main thing which will help you succeed, at least as a product manager, is going to be your learning capability, right? And the way and how much you can hustle, right? So these two things are very important in a product manager's life. You need to know about everything which is going in every kind of domain, right? So you need to be able to keep yourself up to date with whatever is happening. Say booking.com has launched a new feature, maybe MakeMyTrip.com has come up with something new product, not just in the hospitality sector, right? You also need to see about other sectors, like maybe the Swiggy has come up with a new feature, right, which is enhancing customer experience. Is that something cannot incorporate it as is in your app, but can you think of something on the similar grounds, which you can incorporate it and it betters your customer experience as well? So you always have to be lookout on anything and everything new which is happening in different sectors and different industries, right? It cannot be just one particular industry. You cannot restrict yourself to it, because you look at one platform and then as and when you keep looking at different products, you can easily envision, you can pick some components from one of it, some components from the other, and you can make up a very new different product, and it's gonna solve many customer problems, right? So that is something which is very important. Number two is you have to always put yourself in customer's shoe before doing something. So you are also a customer, right? You are someone, you're also booking, you're also traveling, you know what are the pain points, but you have your side of the story. You don't know about many other people who are also booking, right? So, but that gives you a starting point. So, some of the pain points, maybe it may not be that big of a deal, right? So what you do, you try and talk to different other people as well. You do customer surveys, maybe you see the customer feedback which has already been put on your app, on the social media. So you track all of these events, this will give you, okay, this is the major pain points which I can now attribute. Then you try and bring a solution. Now the solution does not always need to be complicated, as Om mentioned. It can be very simple. Maybe you want to, the patrons are unhappy about something, right? And it just could be because this particular piece of information, a very small piece of information, is not visible to them currently. What you do, you just make it visible, and it enhances the partner experience, right? It improves the NPS, so they are happy. So it can be very small problems, and the solutions to those problems could be even simpler, right? So it's not always have to be very complicated. And then the other thing is, you have to hustle. So you have to push yourselves always. Now, as a product manager, you have to take care of many stakeholders. That is one of the KPIs which you also have to take care of, and wherein you have to be in constant touch with technology. Obviously, the engineer counterparts, you have your business counterparts, you have your customers. So you have to listen to each and everybody's views, and you have to arrive at a solution which suffices to each and everybody's needs, right? It cannot be, it suffices business needs. Okay, we are going to bring up so much of revenue, but it is very technically complicated to implement. That won't work, right? Because then it will take a lot of time to implement. And then the ROI which you receive from the solution eventually will not be as much. So you always have to think whatever development and the impact, right? The effort and the impact has to balance out each other. You need to think about in terms of ROI, whether number one, is it solving a customer pain point? Number two, whether the ROI is good enough for you to pursue that. So these two are the important things which you always have to keep in mind. And you always need to keep interacting with different people, because maybe you have thought of something, right? And when you discuss it with maybe somebody from a different even team, you can take a different team. Like, I'm working in OTA, I take care of the online travel agent side of it. If I talk to someone from the partner side or someone from the customer side, right, and I discuss my solution with them, maybe I actually did not think of a particular edge case. Maybe I did not think of a particular use case which I could have missed, and they could have easily pointed out because they've already experienced it. So the more and more people you try and get involved in your PRDs or in your decision making, in your solutioning, the more refined it becomes, and it takes care of better and better use cases. All the use cases get addressed by that simple solution. So I think those would be my guidance for you guys. Just keep on the lookout for anything important thing. Even the UI, you can even look at, just look at given different Apple products, like, just open up anything on everything on Apple. It's so user friendly, it's so intuitive, the design is constant. One button is not of a smaller size and the other button is not of a larger size. So these are the very, very small things which you need to take care of. So just keep your eyes open whenever you see a particular app or whenever you look at a particular product. See what is happening, what are the different screen it opens up, what are the different functionality it gives you. So as because the more and more knowledge you garner, anyways, knowledge is power, right? And it never goes waste. So the more you garner knowledge, it will come up whenever you think of a solution. You'll just come up, okay, this was being done in certain way by this company, maybe we can tweak it a little, and we can come up with a different solution. So it's just small tweaks, and you can come up with a very nice solution for a particular problem. So I think that would be my guidance for you guys.
You might want to add some of the product management tools which you use on a day-to-day life for the students, actually, so that they can actually ramp up on that, and then later on whenever they are coming to some of the organization, they can use it, right?
Sure. See, to be honest, when I actually entered OYO, I had zero experience of product, and I wasn't prepared for the role, to be honest. And when I entered, the major things which I actually do in my day-to-day life is, see, okay, what I do is, there are different blogs which I follow, right? And maybe I'll share with you guys later. I don't have it up front. Maybe I'll share over an email that these are the particular blogs which I read to keep myself up to date. Also, whenever I keep following up news, so whenever I randomly see an app, this startup has actually got investment, I see, okay, this is something new. You just download and see what this app is actually doing. How is it catering to different user pain points. So I don't use a particular tool per se for product management. I mainly read a blogs, keep myself up to date. Just very, very simple things to do in life.
It's nice. I would like to add upon that, actually, because now earlier, right, product managers used to actually work in different tools, and right now the tools have also been changing as per the new era has come up, new methodology, new technology has come up. So just I thought of actually sharing with you guys, right? Product managers works very, very closely with the design team. So I think you might want to have a look into Figma, which has been used nowadays. You can also look into the earlier InVision app for the user flows to be created. InVision app, or this is the two. Third thing is, I think all the product manager has to go with nowadays has to go with the agile process. So you might want to look into Atlassian, Jira, and Confluence for the documentation. Okay, both are Atlassian product. So these are the tool. And the third one, of course, the blogs Hashmina is talking about. I think you guys are already following Medium blogs and etc. But maybe if we get a chance, then I will also have a look into those blogs, which Hashmina will share to all of you guys. And the some other tools I would like to share. Actually, there are a lot of product which we actually visualize in our mind, a lot of product features which we visualize in our mind, and then we create a workflow and try to create a simulator to actually present it to the other product managers, because it will never happen that you got a chance and then you will just implement it directly talking to the engineering team and getting it prioritized, right? It will never happen. You have to conceptualize that particular idea and then simulate it in the sense that the other people can also understand, and then they will be able to replicate it. So your presentation skills has to be really good. If you can actually look into some of the tools which can simulate some of the features idea, maybe in Excel, maybe in workbook, maybe in workflows, it will be really good. And I think we are short of time, but I'll just tell you that when product managers works with the tech team, it is very, very good if they come up with the block diagram or the flow diagram using draw.io. So we always respect that, and it creates a lot of respect or trust also with the product manager, because I'm the counterpart. That's why I'm telling you all, look into draw.io and you can actually create the block diagram or flow diagram there. So these all some of the tools which can help you out growing into the industry.
Thank you so much, sir. So some of the key takeaways that I would like to say is that as budding managers, we need to focus on keeping ourselves updated. We need to push ourselves and put ourselves in consumers' shoes and see what they require. We have to focus on things that are more user friendly and more simple, so that it is easier for the customer to use that particular product or service. And apart from that, yeah, so let's move on to the next question. So the next question that I would like to ask is, so since we are in a customer service industry, how would you emphasize safety training? So after COVID, safety has become one of the top priorities in every industry. So whenever they're always told that, customer comes first in hospitality, we usually say that the customer comes first. But right now it's hard for us to say that, because even the health and safety of our employees are also our priority. So how do we balance between asking the staff to be more efficient and still, focusing on the safety and, security of our employees as well?
This is before the pre-pandemic or during the pandemic era or after
No,
post-pandemic?
after post pandemic, because the future is uncertain.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to continue?
No, I want the clarity of the question. That's why I asked.
Okay,
Okay,
alright.
so the
Yeah.
question is basically what I'm trying to ask is, in this industry, we usually put our customers first. We try to do everything that our customer asks us to, and to satisfy the customer. But because of right now, human touch and contact is an important part of our industry, and since we use this term like a consumer comes first, right now it's hard for us to focus on that, since our employees are also in the risk of infection, and not just COVID, we don't know what the future is. So how do we bring about a balance between our customer and our employee in the tourism industry or in the hospitality industry?
All right.
Is there
So,
anything safety, some safety trainings that we can give them, or any policies that we can formulate? So it's basically like we have to bring a balance between the two, our customers and the safety of our employees.
all right. So, what I think from this question is that I would like to put light on this thing that tourism industry is evolving and emerging as a systematic industry. Earlier, it was like everything, there can be other ways to approach a thing in tourism industry, but now if a property requires a certification, there is no other way to do that. So now there is a system and there is a concrete thing that is required in this industry. So to bring out these changes and bring safety in this, I would say government is very much open to this thing, and they are like organizing online events. They are actually going on ground to give like suggestions and improvement things to like small homestays and everything. They are also funding, and I would say they are like supporting small homestays by giving some subsidies in interest or something like that. So this is like giving some motivation to small homestays and like in offbeat destinations of Himachal, if you say Himachal, Uttarakhand. So these are small initiatives taken by government, which is helping the small businesses out there. Yes.
Okay, I think the question is a little bit more towards the safety of the customers as well as employees. So, take an example, Jostel would have taken care of some of the policies or some of the precaution measures or some of the practices they would have done for the employees. Maybe
Yes.
that there you can actually show some light.
Yeah, so actually in the COVID, as every small hostel chain or hotel chain have practiced, so there were some signboards or small things like that. A small thing adds to the customer experience, right? So putting a thing on the like in the room, like please don't disturb other customers and everything. So these are the small initiatives taken by Zostel in this, and Zostel is more focused towards like in the current scenario, we are more focused in bringing new hostels to offbeat destinations of India. So this is like a silver line, I would say, for the customers as well, because now when they visit to offbeat destinations of India, they would be more they can feel more confined and something like that. So emphasizing on the small and offbeat destinations of India, this can be a thing where we can stand out.
Yeah, thank you, Geetika. Um, so I will take this particular answer in two direction, okay? Because the question is about the customers as well as the employees. So I would like to present it from the Go MMT, Go I Go and Make My Trip point of view, okay? So let me cover the customers first and then the employees, because there has been different steps taken care for the security or safety for these people, right? So on the customer side, I think every one of us are following SMS. That is the sanitization, the mask, and the social distancing, right? That is fine. Now I told you about some of the features which we have built for the customers to become safe. One of them, I'll tell you, is the self audit of the hotels also. So self auditing means they are claiming that I have sanitized my whole of the property, as well as my customers, my house staff are also vaccinated, and the sanitizers are placed in a lot of places, right? We have been doing a weekly sanitation, etc. So they do a self audit. We do a double check with some of the third party who actually goes there in the property and do the double verification of the auditing, whether it is safe or not. That is one of the area. We call it Project Clean Stay, where we actually make the hotelier to self audit through the app itself. So we have a B2B app for the hotel where they can claim that they are actually sanitized and safe for the customers. Now you can send that, but we do the double check by the help of the third party who takes the responsibility of it. Second step is actually as after the booking and before the customer has actually reached to the hotel, right? Because before the check-in, we do remind them about the contactless check-in, that you can actually submit your document right away instead of waiting in the reception area for documents to Xerox and doing all those things actually. So contactless check-in works really well there. The second, the along with the contactless check-in, we also provide one of the very intuitive information to the customers before they come to the hotel, is that 99.9% or 100% of the other customers who are coming to this hotel property are doubly vaccinated. This gives them the satisfaction, or you can say the confidence, that oh, okay, there are other people also there in the hotel, but it's okay because they are doubly vaccinated. And the GoMMT is actually taking care of that. All those people who have booked through GoMMT, we are telling them that these are doubly vaccinated, right? If we have the right data. Otherwise we should not send that information. That is the third step which I'm talking about on the customer side. Fourth is on the premises, on the hotel premises itself, we can actually enable some of the facilities, as I told you, right? That the chat system within the Go I Go or Make My Trip app, you can actually raise a complaint about the hotel in stay properties. Basically those customers who are staying in the property and they face some of the problem. Let's say the AC is not working, the geyser is actually not warming the water, or the TV is not showing my sports channel. Those kind of problem, you don't have to call these people and directly, right? You can actually raise this complaint through the app itself. And of course the payment has already become contactless. You can see the QR code everywhere. Now what we have done is we have also created a unique idea about MMT payments, where actually hotelier can show the QR code. Hoteliers can submit their UPI ID or their bank account code with a virtual payment address, VPA, and that QR code will be actually shown in the different rooms, and Make My Trip QR code reader can read it, and then you can do the transfer of the payment for small things to big things. Like let's say you have booked a cab, you can pay it. You can actually pay for some like let's say ironing your clothes Those kind of small things also you can make. So the payment become also contactless, right? So the whole experience of the customer is from the check-in till the checkout, right? All those things can be actually, not all of them, of course. You have to, if you are looking for the experience like a spa and some massage chair, etc., you might have to get in touch with other people, but you can inform the customers about the rules and policies beforehand, about buffet, you should avoid buffet, maybe you can order a la carte, that will be safer for you. Those kind of instruction on a time to time you can remind that is on the customer side safety I'm talking about, just in some of the features which I have just described here. Now on the employee side, right, the organizations like GoIBO, Make My Trip, Jostel, and OYO also take care of their employees, because caring, as I told you, one of the core values, caring is one of the important factor. I'll tell you, I have experienced this in my organization. I'll tell you, I can count 4 or 5 incidents, and very, very nice one. Not to just promote about GoIBO, Make My Trip, but from the humanity point of view. So during the pandemic, we know that daily workers like house staff and the workers who actually clean your office might lose the job, right? The whole Go MMT family employees actually come together, and they donated the money in some portion for those house workers, so that they can actually take care of their family. This is one of the example, right? The second one is, we also integrated or handshake with mFine app, who started giving us the free consultation for all the employees and employees parents also, right? So there are like a free hours for you to consult to the doctor. You can take an appointment and you can do this online at your home, these kind of small step. Then later on, they actually made it mandatory that everybody has to do the health insurance, plus along with the health insurance, you should now you should now do the health insurance for your parents also. If you are not doing it, there are a lot of people, we are the people who are actually already established in the organization right now, but there are a lot of freshers like you guys who will go to the organization, and you will do the health insurance for yourself, for your spouse, but you generally forget about your in-laws or your parents. So the GoMMT family also pressurized that you take some of the burden, we take some of the burden, and then we will divide it, and then we'll make sure that both the parents of either side should be insured, so that we can actually help them out in this kind of scenarios, right, in this kind of difficult scenario. So that is one of the instance which I remember right now. And for the safety and security, I think everybody is following WFH working from home scenario, but whenever they have opened the organization in between, before the Omicron, they made sure that each of the seats are actually separated from one of the cross seat, as well as 30% of the occupancy of the employees should go to the office, rest 70% can take care of work from the home, right? So the 30% of the employees were going to the office, and they were doing their job while making sure that they are vaccinated. As well as, I remember that there is a rapid accent test which has been done on the employees whosoever go to the office, and it is randomly they will choose, oh, okay, today you are looking very happy, let's go and put that particular test bud in your nose and then test it out. So these are random, these are some of the safety scenarios we are doing. I remember, last but not the least, a very small example, those employees who are doubly vaccinated and going to the office, they are making sure they get the food in a separate packages. Earlier we used to have buffet system, or everybody used to sit in a table and gather together 4 or 5 people, right? So now they made sure that they actually give them a packaged food separately for each one of them, whosoever goes to the office for work. So the organization point of view, they are taking care of all these things, right? They have also created some helpline where we can actually provide some oxygen cylinder or those kind of. I think every other organization has come forward towards the humanity in this particular drastic scenario. And I think in the second wave, a lot of people have lost a lot of valuable and close one lives. So it gives us a lot of lessons that caring should be one of the core value of each and every organization. I have been to Amazon, I have been in Redbus, I have been in GoIBO, and I see this is one of the core value which is actually common across all the organization, whether they have the core value or not, but they follow it. And that is what makes us human to in this hospitality industry. Thank you.
Okay, so like Omar, I'll also talk about two aspects separately. So we have the customers to take care of, and all the companies also have their employees who actually work to make the business a success. So there are these two sides of the coin, and so on the customer side, we already have talked about a lot of the stuff like for the customers to make it safe and secure for them. There are different initiatives which is already taken across the organizations, and I think few of the ones I think I've already talked about. I'll just mention them again. Number one is, we started with an initiative where we provide the option of sanitize before your eyes, right? Where the hotels are actually ready to do the sanitization of the entire room wherever you are staying in front of your eyes, so that you just don't have to believe that we have done it. You can actually see for yourself that we are actually doing it, and that way you'll feel more safer to stay in a particular hotel, right? And I think that is something which started gaining a lot of attention as soon as we launched it, because maybe that was one of the key points which the customers were looking for, and we actually brought it to them, right? I think that was something which totally made us stand out. Then we also again, the other thing we saw was that customers were not very sure in interacting with different hotel personnel, right? And hence they wanted to be sure that whoever they're interacting with, whoever they are in close contact with, are actually vaccinated, and hence we started the vaccinate program, which is again has started getting a lot of traction. There is the contactless check-in. So all of these initiatives were taken just to adapt to the changes which are happening in the customer behavior, and to adapt to the pain points which also evolved with COVID. And I think there are many other initiatives which are also being taken. Maybe on the IoT side, we're also experimenting with different things which we can make which we can do to make the lives of the customer easier and safer. But coming to the other side of it, which is the employee side, I think uh, I'll talk about a few of the initiatives which OYO has actually taken, and the way it was handled and was executed at such a large scale was commendable. So number one, what they started with is that obviously as soon as the COVID kicked in, everybody had to go work from home, right? Everybody had to start working from home, and nobody had an idea how to work. So to streamline that process was again, for a startup, I think it's very, very commendable to do something like this. And then so as soon as COVID hit in, obviously, we also had the new joinees come in, right? And their onboarding also is a very, very difficult in COVID times, because everything has to be done online, and you are not very familiar how to onboard new joinees. So although it was delayed by a few months, but when we came in, we felt welcomed in our own teams, and everybody was there to support. You are very, very new to the organization, and you have no idea about the company, about the different teams, how everything works. So everybody came in to help you. Whoever you try and contact for help via email, you can reach out to them via phone. You have the phone numbers also in place, so you can just call them up. You can Slack them, you can email them, whatever, and they'll always be ready to help you. So that helped the onboarding process, right? So that resulted in smooth transition, and hence as soon as you feel welcomed and you are able to get grasp of things, you can easily contribute to the organization, right? That's how that facilitated the process. When the second wave hit in, I think that's when the things got really serious, and major initiatives were taken, wherein we started the vaccination drives. Many camps were organized in different regions based on the availability of the employees in all of those regions. So vaccination drives were organized in association with different hospitals. Number two, ambulances, all of that was made available. So we just had to call the HR up, we just had to fill a form, and it would be made available as soon as possible. So I have actually thankfully it wasn't required in my family, but I actually had a colleague whose father got really ill, and she told me her experience, and I was actually fascinated by that when she mentioned that her father actually needed to be hospitalized, and as soon as she called the HR up, they she got a call back from them that the ambulance is arriving, I think next 2 to 3 hours. So that's how efficiently all of this was handled, and everybody was ready to support. Even her manager, all the colleagues started reaching out to her to see if she needed help. So people as well as the organization is very supportive in that respect, that whenever and wherever you need help, we are available for you and we'll be there to support you. And as mentioned by Om, I think medical insurances, health insurances are being made mandatory by the organizations to, take care of you, your family, provide safety in that regard. So all of that is there, and even with the offices, right? We are working from home, and it was partially open in between. But it was on a roster basis, right? So again, very few percentage of the employees who were even needed to go to the office had to actually go. It wasn't made mandatory. Nobody had to actually be in the office to work. And even if people wanted to go, you had to set up, tell the HR that you want to go, so that the number of employees do not exceed. And all of that was taken care of. Sanitization of the offices kept happening at regular intervals of time. So all of these are taken care to see that employees are taken care of. We also received the best initiative for me was, I think, last year in May or June, where we started receiving Wednesdays off for a mental health, and that was the best time. So we just had to work 4 days a week, and I think I really enjoyed that, and nobody wanted that to end. So yeah, they also take care of the employees, their mental health. So when they started seeing that because of COVID, everybody was tense, nobody was able to actually be that productive, they gave you an additional day off, right? So that you can take care of your family, you can take care of your loved ones, you can take care of yourself, your mental state, because when you are fine and you are working good, only then can you be productive. If you're not in your right state of mind, you cannot anyways work. So all of these things are taken care of by the organization, and OYO is also really good in taking care of its employees. So I would definitely want you guys to come and join our organization.
Yeah, I remember I was reaching out to Hashmina on some Wednesdays, and she told me that we have off today. Okay, that is good. Actually, that is very, very good point. What at the end, what Hashmina has added, right, about the mental health. I think that's very, very important right now in this scenario, because we all are working most of the hours in a room in front of a virtual reality kind of system, where I think that I am close to Hashmina and Geetika, and we are talking to each other right now. I think in colleges also you can opt for some of these things which we are talking about. It's not about the offices or organization, but in schools and colleges also, what you can do is you can have a health activity sessions or something. Somebody can do Zumba, somebody can actually block some time for yoga. These kind of things you can actually share. You don't have to come to the organization to do that, but you can start early, right? Because if this is going to be the system, or this is going to be the you can say what do you call the methodology going forward, then we have to adhere to it. We have to respect it, and we have to adhere to it, right?
Thank you so much, Om, and all our speakers. Well, although this discussion has been so interesting with great insights, we are running out of time. So if it's all right with the speakers, we can move ahead to the Q&A session.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, Shri Krishna, you can take over.
Thank you, Taran, and thank you, our esteemed speakers. So I would now request the participants to raise their hands if they have any questions for the speakers. And I want to grab this opportunity to ask a doubt myself. My question is to Ms. Hashmina, ma'am. So you said that as a product manager, we have to check every other's products, which features they are rolling out and everything. So do you think that a new feature, experimenting on a new feature is important, or trying to incorporate a feature which is already been rolled out and which is already been established is important?
See, when I told you to look out for features, I also mentioned that not everything and anything can be copied as is, right? So something which has worked for Zomato cannot work as is for OYO as well, right? So you have to always make tweaks to whatever is launched, and you have to adapt it to your industry and your target customer before launching it. So pick the ideas, right, as a starting point. Don't copy it as is. Take it as a starting point, tweak it so that it is adaptable to your target segment, and then you can launch it. So it always there has to be modifications. It cannot be as is, but the ideas can start, serve as a starting point for your thinking.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you very much. Bharat, you can go ahead with your question.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the insightful session. Like it was very knowledgeable. So I wanted to ask, like, what were some strategies like your companies were planning pre-COVID, but you guys had to change the strategies and you had to modify and to change to something new in the post-COVID era, like some like work from home, nowadays we can see like workation companies are starting up, like startups providing work from home. So people weren't thinking of this work from home thing before pre-COVID era. Like nobody wanted to work like something like that. So what are some strategies like each of you companies have changed due to the COVID era?
I think, yeah, Gitika, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say like there were many things the company had planned a pre-COVID era, and now those things are rolling out. If you say an example of work from home, when I say like a pre-COVID era, Austin has this thing like we used to work from home or work from mountains due to our job roles, and this was the thing we used to practice even before pre-COVID era, maybe 1 or 2 years back, before like maybe in 2017 or 2018. We used to practice this thing. We used to work from mountains. We used to work from like remote areas somewhere in Himachal where there is a good connectivity, because it doesn't require you to be present in the office to do a work. It's not very much required. If you can be there, if you can manage things from your place, that's really awesome. So I would say we had planned things pre-COVID era, and now we are pretty much very comfortable with this work from home thing. We never face these kind of problems, work from home problem. If you say like even now also, Zostel haven't opened the offices. We are working from home since like 2 years, 2.5 years, and we haven't faced any problem. We communicate on Slack. There is an onboarding of new member, and there is everything feels like very seamless. But at the end of the day, like sometimes it's very much required that teams come and do huddle kind of thing, and join for a specific meeting for a specific topic. So that's really required. But I would say whatever we have planned a post-COVID, pre-COVID era, we are practicing it very smoothly right now.
Yeah. Um, thank you, Geetika. Bharat, can you just explain a little bit about, you said that, what your company has changed and what did you actually accept or change it later on for the post-pandemic? I didn't understand that particular part.
Yeah, I was saying like you guys like before 2019 when there was no COVID and all. So what some strategies that your company were planning for the future and all, but since the COVID era struck, so what some strategies
Okay.
that you had to change, like, and which some of the new technologies that have been coming around, like new trends that have been emerged like that. So you guys had to bend
Yeah.
or something like that.
So of course, I will take it from. I understand it now very, very clearly. I will explain you, right. So take an example. 2019, when everything was really good, you are doing really good sales, and you know whatever you sell, people are buying it actually, because it was just like a normal day, right? And at the time, during that time, our target was to look into tier 2, tier 3 cities actually. Okay, where you have a requirement like ashram, dharmshala, or some of the places like Tirupati or Vaishno Devi, Katra, right, where people come in from different cities, stay there for hours. They may not use it for the whole of the day and then continue their journey, right? So you might try slot booking, or maybe hourly booking, those kind of things. There are a lot of startups which has come up during that time actually. So we were looking into that direction. Okay, that went for a toss for the next 2 years, because the carpooling system or the bulk booking system has gone out of the way, because people doesn't want to meet strangers now, right? They don't want to go in a bulk to any other place. So the herds are a simple no-no, right? We were looking into, I'll tell you from Redbus point of view. I will tell you from all the different domains, right? So from Redbus point of view, we started something called carpooling, Red Pool. Okay, where because in Bangalore, Delhi, NCR kind of region, there are a lot of professional people who used to do the carpool using Uber and Ola also. And Redbus also thought, why not invest in that area and then actually start doing that. So there is a one more startup, a very nice one, Drive You, something like that. Okay, so where you can actually Drive You, or one more app which actually works here in Bangalore, where if you have your own car, you can actually enroll to this particular application, and then while going towards your office, you can actually pick up 1 or 2 or 3 people along the way, right? It's a carpooling sharing kind of thing. So Red Bull was also the same concept, which worked really good for the starting 2-3 months in 2019, but we have to scrap it off because of course the reason, right? So there were strategies keeping that in mind in 2019, that we are the market leader and we can do whatever we want, right? But that all changed because of the pandemic situation. And I told you some of the ideas which we have built, right? We had to focus on cost optimization, because we cannot bear all the cost, right? We did some of the strategy change. I'll tell you that we have an office in Gurgaon as well in Bangalore. We wanted to open it up in Pune and Chennai also, but we didn't go ahead with that. We used to have two buildings in Gurgaon and Bangalore. We now cut down the cost and started taking only one of the floor of that particular building, because you don't need that extra space, right? The cost optimization happened in the technological sector also, where we started thinking that because we are using AWS cloud services, there are a lot of and Go and Make My Trip both had AWS infrastructure, which actually costs a lot. So we actually did the migration, everything migration to one of the AWS infrastructure, so that we have to pay only for one account. So we did that kind of migration also during that time. So infrastructure, cost optimization, and whatever tools you have which can be done open source, we actually moved there, because we wanted to actually save some of the penny in each of the external third party licenses, right? So there were strategies across, from infrastructure like buildings to grow, to hire more BD people, to restrict it, to go into a sector like Red Pool, or going towards herd, or hourly booking kind of sections, to group booking. Like we were thinking about group booking also at that time. Actually, we started something called bus hire, where we were actually selling whole of the bus to 30-40 people, like for the Bharat and all those kind of, right, students welfare, or to, tourist packages kind of, where every colleges or shadi people actually book the whole buses. Those kind of all the initiative, we actually just park it out for 2-3 years, and now we are working on different kind of strategies keeping this in mind, right?
Okay. So I'll tell you a few of the strategies which we have changed. And okay, let me start with the first one. What we did was, see, pre-COVID era, Oyo was very much focused on increasing its supply, right? So we wanted to bring more and more hotels into our brand so that we increase the top line. That was our major focus. But when the COVID hit in, obviously the hotels itself, they were not getting the business, right? So we cannot add more and more. They started churning because they did not have anything to support. So the number of hotels then started churning, and we did not get a lot of bookings. So the revenue obviously cannot increase. So we then, rather than focusing on the top line, we started focusing on the bottom line. To focus on the bottom line, we had to do many optimizations, right? So the one of the major optimization we started was, like in COVID times, it was very difficult for the BDs to go and even talk to the hotel owners. So we started thinking in that direction, that rather than getting the BDs to talk to the hotel owners, what we'll do is we'll create an app, so that, and very easy to use app, so that it becomes easier for the hotels themselves to onboard, right? We started thinking in that direction. we had minimum guarantee at that point of time, wherein we'll pay the hotel owners irrespective, at least a minimum amount irrespective of the business, right? We also scraped that because we ourselves are not earning, then how will we give the owners, right? It's as simple as that. So then we went to the pure revenue sharing model. We also, like Om mentioned, that even in our organizations, we have taken many initiatives to club the tech stack. So we have our Europe business as well, which is the Belvilla and the TUI, all of those homestays. So their tech stack currently is being migrated into the global, which the tech stack which is used to run OYO. That is again a cost optimization technique. We also had a China business. Again, that tech stack is also moved into the global stack. Again, all of these are cost optimization, so that one single tech stack is used to cater to all the different use cases, and we do not need to maintain different tech teams, different servers. All of that cost can be saved at the same point of time, and that eventually helps in increasing your bottom line, which any business wants to do at the end of the day. I hope that answers.
Thanks.
Okay, Mayank has asked a question. He said, since accommodation patterns of consumers are different from hotels to, what is the change in consumer psychology after COVID in selecting hotels or hostels?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would. Yeah, I would attempt on that. Actually, there is this particular question, right? So we actually saw the shift of the psychology of the customer, including myself, actually, because I am also a customer, right? And I also try to plan or travel. And I'll tell you, from the beginning of the thought itself, it changes. The psychology of the customer changes. As we have told in this whole panel discussion, right? People are not limiting themselves to any one of the amount right now. So they were preferring either I can go to a 5-star hotel which were not reachable to me earlier, right? They are looking more towards the security point of view. Basically, 2-star or 3-star hotels may not have that much of good sanitation in their hotel property, or those necessity which we require, right? So people don't restrict themselves to the amount or the range which earlier they were thinking. That is one. Second is, I think earlier, whenever people are traveling, they were okay with taking up any pooling system like a bus or a flight or a cab per se. But now the thought has changed. Okay, why not I have my own car, or I will rent a car which will be sanitized, and I will actually bring my family in the car. Even if it is 300, 500 or 600 kilometer, I would like to travel through my own car. If you would have seen in cars 24/7 or other companies, right? The second-hand car sold in the last 2 years has the maximum growth, because people feel that it is safer to actually travel in their own car or bike rather than going to the public transport system. So that is another psychology change which we have seen. The third one is, of course, the homestay properties, right? Homestay properties, and Airbnb has done a really good job after the lockdown has lifted up, because you see, hotels or building apartments are also a herd community, because there you have a lot of people from a lot of different community, a lot of places who comes and goes again, right? And hotels especially has a frequency of people actually coming and going out of their property, while getting a very limited amount of time for the whole rooms to be cleaned or changed or to be sanitized actually. While if you look into the homestay property, in the homestay property, when I'm saying homestay, it's like bungalows, villas, or a tree house or something like these are the property where actually the demand is increased, because there you get the personalized touch first of all, and the host takes care of cleaning up of the whole of the property along with the caretaker, which actually makes it more centric towards a single unit, rather than I have to take care of 30 rooms. Now they are actually focusing on one of the single unit, or maybe multiple rooms of the single unit, right? And I personally, from my experience in 2021, I think I have traveled to 4 different places, but I prefer to look into travel through my own car, go to the homestay property, and stay there with my family basically. So because I know that nobody else will be there in that property, it's unshared, right? I am taking mostly the entire property. There can be homestay of entire and room by room also, but you can take the entire property basically. So these are some of the tips of the psychological changes which I am talking about. And now people, the human tendency says almost 67% of the people who doesn't want to speak or meet to person to the stranger. They would like to message or chat with them actually to answer any of the query. So in case of this property, when I booked, most of the queries were resolved using either chatbot or through the WhatsApp messages, including your document submission to payment to maybe experiences nearby, right? Or the location. Everything has been done through the WhatsApp and chat system. No calls required or no personal meetings are required. So these are some of the safety desire, or you can say the precautions, or you can say the mentality change of the customer behavior which has happened uh, according to me, and which I have observed in the last 2-3 years.
All right, Om. So I really agree with you, and I would like to add that customer base for a hotel and a hostel is completely different, right? Because if you are going to a homestay, you probably want a very calm and a confined place. But when you have a mindset that you want to that you want to meet new people, then definitely you would prefer hostel over a hotel kind of property, because there you have ample space to socialize and everything. So, like, if you ask me about what is the change in customer psychology after COVID, so people have now started trusting brands over like standalone hotels or something like that. So, and the workation thing, the staycation thing, all these things worked very well in the hostel segment of the industry. If you ask me, there was a point of time we have seen that our hostels have been changed into a co-living space. A co-living space is a place where you stay with like-minded people, like people who are doing job and indulge in very job. So we have seen this kind of shift, and it was a positive shift. What we have seen, most of our hostels were uh, fully occupied, and they have extended their stays just because they were in the offbeat destinations of India, where they obviously the certification thing, the protocols were followed. So they extended their stays, and we have really seen a positive result out of this. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So now we would like to move forward with the last two questions of the day. So Chris, if you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question is to Mr. Om. So, sir, you said that
What did I say?
yes, sir, I am facing. Yeah, so you said that that you are trying to adopt crypto payment systems. So, one problem is that
Hello.
So Chris, you're not audible. You can type in your question in the chat box. That's okay.
Yeah, I
In
think
the meantime, Rajkumar, you can go ahead with the question.
Audible? Hello.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good
yes.
evening to all the panelists and others present. So I'd like to firstly thank the panelists for taking time out of their busy schedule and enlightening us with their rich experience. I really enjoyed this session. So my question is like, how do you go about demand forecasting, and like how important do you think like it is to forecast the demand beforehand, and like does demand forecasting help the organizations to be more agile and resilient, like by being able to predict the trends in real time?
Yes, yes, of course. Very nice question, actually. I'll take a hit on this if the other panel members agree.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, what's your name? What's your name? Rajkumar, right? Rajkumar Ravi. Yeah,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
so the demand data gives you a lot of insight about what you should project to your supplier. Okay. The demand data also tells you about what is your capacity to provide it to the customers. So when we say, take an example, the demand data in the different sets. Okay. In the bus industry, it is the number of seats available for the buses. In the hotel industry, it's number of room nights or rooms available for that particular hotel or for that particular city. And the flights is a very limited resource, so you have to first come first serve, right? Because flights inventory is sent.
Vinil, Hashmina ma'am is unable to unmute herself. Can you help her out?
She's already unmuted. I think there's some bandwidth issue.
I think there is some glitch in the system. We can wrap up the session for now. The remaining questions we can share with the guest through email.
All right, guys. So it was really nice connecting with you all. So, like, I believe we all are from the tourism background, and we have like finished 2 years a very like deadly pandemic scenario. So, I believe like there is a positive hope in all of us, and we are really looking forward to you guys to join the industry. Thank you, guys.
So much. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you so
so
much.
I would like to conclude the session. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude towards our guest speakers for sparing their valuable time for us. This panel discussion certainly benefited from your breadth of knowledge and depth of expertise. All thanks to your enlightening words and insights that inspired so many people out here. And I would also like to thank the Director of AMS and more, Professor Dr. Neelu Mehta, Mr. Amrinder Singh, our faculty mentor, Professor Vikrant Kaushal, the college administration, the IT team, and the media cell of AMS and more for helping us in making this event a success. At last, I remain most thankful to the students of AMS and more who sat through this discussion and took the opportunity to interact with our honored guests. It's an audience like you that makes this session fruitful. So before leaving, students, please put your names and roll numbers in the chat box and have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.